As I shared, my ancestral name is Seis. I come from Slatin country. In the beginning part of it, just there, halfway is on Harrison Lake, all the way over, almost to Squamish, past Whistler Mountain, a mountain that they call Garibaldi Mountain, and all the way across, almost all the way up to Cache Creek in the north. I was born in Vancouver at St. Paul's Hospital. I've been trying to find out more information about what happened, because when I was born with pneumonia, and they had to fly me to a hospital in Nanaimo. After what happened there, I don't know. But I remember living with my parents, my mother and my father, for about 7 years. And my mother died in an accident when I was about 7 years old. And so we were passed on to be raised by our grandparents. And I have to share that being raised by them was a blessing, was a real blessing. I learned that language was first and foremost the most important part of who I am in terms of being Ujalmilch. And I always say this, we're not Indians, we're not Aboriginal, we're not Indigenous, we're not First Nations. Those are all terminologies put forward by the anthropologists, put forward by the governments, to label us and to give us numbers to try and contain us in terms of our citizenship. And I've been saying to my own chief and council that we don't have to listen to them. We just have to understand that we, the old ones, are the ones who know the families. We, the old ones, who know the proper citizenship code of our own people. And nobody can cross that barrier because it belongs to us, it belongs to our ancestors. So in being raised on the reservation at a very young age, I was subjected to being ripped away from my family and taken to a residential school. I literally remember that first day when my sister, standing at the borderline between the boys and the girls, was hollering out my name. And I ran over to the line where she was. And she just said, "I just want to know you're okay." So from that time forward, I knew as a kid that we had a battle on our hands. We were going to fight. We were going to fight to stand up for our family to be together. And when they started to try and shove religion down my throat, I still spoke my language. I still prayed to Chaakukpi in Chinamkin, to the Great Spirit. And with my cousins, I still spoke the language even though they punished us. I said, they will never take that away from us. I was the only one in my family that was fortunate and privileged enough to have been able to do that, continue speaking my own language. When my grandfather on my father's side would take me to a meeting with the chief and the council, he'd take me with him, and I'd sit down on the floor beside his knees, and whenever he would be asked to talk, he would stand up and he would speak Ujalmilch to the people. That's how I came to understand of how important that was going to be for our people. And growing up on the reservation, that was our heaven. Our heaven wasn't up there, it was right here. We lived it. We lived it because our ancestors showed us that this land on which we sit and which we live is something that is deemed to be sacred, deemed to be holy. And when they said, this is yours, you take care of it, it'll take care of you. So now we are in a battle to save our sacred spots in our territory, to stop the white man from pushing roads into those mountains, of putting future developments in there for tourism and for economics and for money. It doesn't even belong to Canadian people, it belongs to investors from outside the country. So we're going to put a stop to that. We don't want them here anymore. We'll tell them to get the heck off of Indian land. This is Uqalmik land, and so we will protect it. What do we have today? Welfare, government programs, but we need to know. We need to know that we can set up our own businesses. We can set up our own structure in terms of government, and we can be the difference makers. So what we have today came from our ancestors, came from the old ones who reminded us, don't give up. The American Indian movement moved into town. When I say they moved into town, they brought with them a big drum. When I heard them singing this song at that old Vancouver Center, our people started to find out we don't have to live by anybody's religion. The God that they talk about for us can't be replaced by our own truth. And along with the American Indian movement, Red Power was just beginning to rise too, along with the Black Panthers. And I remember the days when there was violence between these factions. When I say violence, knives, guns, things like that were starting to happen. And I was starting to look at what was happening with our people. And yes, we needed to stand up, we needed to fight back, but God damn it, we don't need to start killing each other. We need to know that what we do is for our own health, our own well-being. That belongs to us. What's a sweat lodge? A sweat lodge, we heard, was to become our church. A sweat lodge was a way of life. A sweat lodge was something that wasn't just given, it was earned. And how did you earn that? You went up in the mountain for 4 days to fast, to give your life back to the Creator. We met with the Native Brotherhood. They weren't a brotherhood yet. They were just a group of guys who were asking for some help. And yes, they were on a hunger strike. And when we met with them, I listened to what they were asking for. The sovereign right to be able to live their own spiritual path. without the white man's religion, with the sacred pipe, with the sweat lodges, and our own traditional Indian medicine, our own traditional ceremonies. And when they made the offering for the sweat lodge, I said, okay, we're going to go out to the yard, we're going to do a pipe ceremony. And we're going to pray for some signs. And you know what happened? As we were doing that pipe ceremony, singing those songs and sharing those prayers, an eagle came and he circled right over the prison. A little baby black bear came to the fence and he walked around the perimeter of that institution. The guys got so happy they were throwing bananas, apples, oranges over the fence. I said, hey, there's our sign, there's our sign. And so we put up the first sweat lodge in Kent Maximum Security Institution. That one instance opened the door for urban Native organizations in the inner city of Vancouver to start taking a look at, because they witnessed something that was so powerful, so beautiful in terms of the resurgence of our way of life. They started looking at culture as a way of healing. They started looking at our old teachings as becoming the model in regards to the medicine wheel. The sweat lodge has saved the lives of numerous people. For that matter, some people have come to the sweat lodge to die inside the sweat lodge. That is how committed they were to living their life in the best way that they know how. I will always carry that in my heart in every ceremony I go to. And I welcome all the people who have those different kinds of teachings. And I will sort it out myself because it came through a vision. Kukstung, Waimal. Kukstung means thank you. Waimal means just peace be you who you are. Shtuchum skala. Wherever you go, be prosperous, be healthy, and be happy. Chuk.